All right, so that takes us to the outside linebackers and the pass rushers. I have an ass starter here, of course, with Harold Landry, 3 years left on his major contract. Harold Landry clearly, absolutely, unequivocally a starter on this team, and that's it.
Yeah, I would say your potential starter is Arden Key, right? Because Arden Key is going to stick around. We saw that he maybe could not handle a full workload, but he still ranked really highly in a bunch of advanced metrics. But, I mean, it wasn't consistent over the course of the year. But you have a new defense. You have better coaches. You have better scheme, theoretically. Maybe he takes a Jadeveon Clowney-like leap, where he just suddenly shows up in the last year of his contract. And listen, guys who show up in the last year of their contract on a 2-year deal, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine, right? I mean, at least you got something out of them.
Money motivates all of humanity. I'm fine with money motivating people. I'm fine with that.
But when you look at this class, these unrestricted free agents, it's a really good list of players to pull from that are probably better on a week-to-week, snap-to-snap basis than Arden Key, who is better in a rotational role. The problem is that you're talking about guys that are somewhat a little old. Danielle Hunter, Zadarius Smith, Leonard Floyd, Josh Allen, and Brian Burns, and Clavon Chasen I probably butchered that name, are all, and then you got Josh Uche.
Brian Burns could cost you $20 million.
26. Yeah, but you got to decide: is this where you're going to spend your money, and how is that how you're going to do it? But there's guys like Marcus Golden, that Anthony Barr, Anthony Jennings. I mean, like, you got guys like that. But I also think the defensive draft in this area is really good too. But right now, it's Arden Key, Rashad Weaver, and Caleb Murphy are your guys that are depth guys. And Caleb Murphy, I mean, they kept him on the roster all damn year, but that seems like a Mike Vrabel issue, not he deserved it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I want to zero in on the roster currently first, because there are, I agree with you, a lot of pass rushers. I think some of them have turned into like third down guys that are just going to come on and be sort of pass rush specialists, like Leonard Floyd, for example. I don't know if it's a guy you want out there on 1st and 10 on the vast majority of times, but he's really decent at coming off the edge and being explosive. But it's clearly Harold Landry. It's Arden Key, 2 more years. Like, Arden Key's clearly a guy that's a rotational piece for sure. Rashad Weaver has 1 more year left on his contract, and then Caleb Murphy has 2 years left on his entry-level deal or whatever it is. So, like, you've got those 4 pieces, and it's kind of just for 1 spot, maybe 2 starting spots, depending on the down and distance and the situation you're talking about. So while I think they need a clear upgrade at this position, like a dog, like a TJ Watt style player, the way they need a number 1 lockdown corner, and if you're going to spend, and you're looking at the defense, the 2 areas you would probably spend the big dollars on a big ticket item would be pass rusher or cover corner. Those would be the top 2. I don't think they need a ton of depth here, but I do think they need at least 1 more big piece. And I don't know, to your point about looking at, like, Brian Burns to me is the L'Jarius Sneed of this position, right? Like, if you're going to spend 4 years $60 million or 4 years $70 million, and you're going to spend a big dollar figure, Brian Burns is the type of guy you go get at this position. But otherwise, there's a lot of aging veterans that you could put in there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that Brian Burns is that guy that you would break the bank for if you're going to. But I kind of think that this is a one that you kind of maybe attack in the draft. I think that there are some guys that maybe like a Jalix Hunt that many people don't know about, but he was at the free agents or at the Senior Bowl, and he's got some really good measurables. We'll see how he performs at the combine, but he's a guy that you could really start to shape. You could shape him. He's like almost a blank slate, right? A blank canvas, and maybe that is better to get that guy, a rookie, than it is, and then just kind of let Rashad Weaver, Carl Lawson's up on the screen. Rashad Weaver, Arden Key kind of like roll around as far as like trying to figure out who they are, what they are, and all this kind of stuff. But Stoney's right about what Jalix Hunt. He loves the football IQ of Jalix Hunt, and I think that matters. And I think that's a guy that you could get maybe in the 5th round that you're fifth, sixth, seventh, that you're thinking, okay, well, there's more upside to him than there is Rashad Weaver.
Yeah.
Rashad Weaver had a really high floor, but he hasn't really left that floor since he got drafted. Jalen Hunt has a high floor, high ceiling. And I think that when you got teachers, you can take chances on projects in motion. I don't think that's the word I'm looking for, but like a work in progress.
Yeah. All right. So we talked. So Daniil Hunter is the other guy. Kaylavon Chason is the other guy. Both LSU guys, I think. So they got the weird names. Here's my question. So, like Leonard Floyd's like $7-8 million projected market value. Kaylavon Chason's about $3-4 million projected value. Josh Uche's in that $7-8 million projected value. Those are sort of the second. Those are down a peg from the L'Jarius Sneed sort of version of this. You said you think we need 2-3 corners, at least 2. Do you feel like that this position is one that where one piece is all you need? Or do you think it's like, hey, let's go get a Chason for 3 and let's add Floyd for 9 and let's sort of throw a bunch of stuff at the wall? Or do you think it's go get the one big one? Like, do you see what I'm saying?
Well, I think it depends on like who is the guy on the defensive line, right? Because we haven't got these kind of, because like Danico Autry, I think you wouldn't, if you brought Danico Autry back, you wouldn't have to spend anything in free agency on an outside linebacker. Yeah, but if you don't bring Danico Autry back, then you have a defensive lineman. Can that defensive lineman also go drop back in coverage? Yeah. So it's, you're kind of looking, when you're talking about positionless football, you're kind of looking at a defensive end that can also drop back in coverage, or you're talking about an outside linebacker or edge rusher that can put his hand in the dirt. Because those kind of tie, because you need, it's Jeffrey Simmons on that defensive line and nobody.
Well, we can get.
So I mean, you kind of have to talk about them both.
Yeah.
But to just clarify where we're at on the edge, Harold Landry starter, Arden Key potential starter. Then you have Weaver and Murphy. On the defensive line, you have Jeffrey Simmons and nobody. It's one better than the linebackers, but it's
true. So Autry,
nobody.
Autry, Gibson, Davidson, TK, Black. I don't even know Ross Blacklock. They're all free agents. You've got Bohanna, your guy, Coburn and Brown, who are under like, again, make the practice
not
squad type.
Bohanna is a person.
Yeah, I know. And again, Weaver can, in certain situations, play that sort of more true defensive end in a 3-4 system if that's what you're asking him to do. But you don't want him on the field; you want him as a rotational piece. So I think Autry coming back, even at his age, is a concern. But I think this is important to consider. Where are we as a team? And if that's what I would be asking myself if I'm in that meeting is, are we trying to win a Super Bowl this year? The answer is no. So Are you okay with the diminished Danico Autry for a year, maybe 2, because you're not trying to win a Super Bowl in the next year or 2? That's where I think even Sean Murphy Bunting, even Al-Shaair, and even I'm just using these guys because they all have sort of like similar sort of quality. They're good stopgaps in the short term. And I think Autry, while he has been great at his age over the last few seasons, that's going to come down. The production and the injuries are going to happen more. And I think you can't count on him for more than a year, maybe 2.
Yeah, because you got guys like Clellan Ferrell, Jordan Phillips, two guys that do 2 different things on the defensive line. So what do you need everything. It's almost like you need a Tier Tart and you need a Danico Autry. Those are the positions that you're trying to fill on this team. You need a run stopping, nose tackle, beast of a man that can line up to Jeffrey Simmons on at least, 2 to 3 downs every on the drive. And you need a Danico Autry that can play on the defensive line, but also out in coverage and make plays and rush to passer and all that kind of stuff. And it's a very simplistic way to look at it, but that's what this team needs, and they don't have it. I mean, we're through the defense, right? Just to keep everybody updated. 4 starters: Jeffrey Simmons, Harold Landry, Roger McCreary, Amani Hooker. 2 potential starters: Arden Key, Elijah Molden.
Okay. Yep, I agree with that.
Starter, Otis Reese. Long shot starter. And then you got 5 depth guys: Rashad Weaver, Caleb Murphy, Chance Campbell, Luke Gifford, Trey Avery. That is, if you were to split it evenly, right? Punter, kicker, long snapper taken out of the final 53, and you're splitting it evenly with 25 defenders on the final 53 and 25 offense players on the 53. We have 12 of 25 listed.
And the majority of them are not starters.
Right.
So this leads
starters.
me